But the absolute heart of the organisation was its volunteers, and probably most of all its stewards, because they were voluntary on the day. We needed about 200 or so, maybe 300 people to look after the event. That was a major operation to recruit stewards. You have no idea. We had a director of human resources, basically one of the team, whose job it almost entirely consisted of ringing them up and asking them, "Are you going to turn up or not?" We were running the largest lesbian and gay event in Europe. It was also the largest free annually occurring pop festival in Europe. And at its height, which was in Clapham Common in about 96, 97, it was significantly larger than Glastonbury. I mean, it was, I think, 200,000 people. Even in 1995, we were somewhere like 300 to 350,000 in Clapham Common in 1997. We had lots of fun. It was lots of hard work. We did have lots of fun. We also had lots of rows all the time. So an example would be the 30th of July, 1994. Witherington strikes again. He's announced in capital Gay the idea of a 2-day event and the date of next year's Pride without consulting anybody. Tom rang me at 12:30 a.m. to say he was so angry he was considering resigning. Now, I'm all for freedom of speech, but there was the gay press, which, of course, being the press, just loved to tell bad stories and give bad news about Pride all the time, criticising it. There was always the Pride row that would be carried out in the letters pages of the Pink Paper or Gay Times or Capital Gay. And where there wasn't any criticism, they would often make it up, I'm afraid. So I was always the person who was most concerned about the march. This was the march I was organising. As somebody who's organised Pride events, I often find people talk about them in a rather sentimental way, by which I mean they forget that there's actually a reality here about people actually having to put in time and effort to make it happen. And then there's lots of people who just turn up, and then there's lots of people who have an opinion. I'm not saying that those opinions are wrong, because sometimes they're right. It's a tradition which has been created by the queer community. It is reinterpreted in every age in its own way. Whatever you think about it, there are people organising it who are constrained by time, money, politics. In all these reports that we used to do, we did also talk about structure, because one of the problems we had was that the Pride Trust itself was putting the event on, and therefore was vulnerable to losses and, in fact, bankruptcy. But we needed to make a separate company which would put all of the production work in and all the risk. And we were on the brink of getting that right, or about to do it, when, of course, we were caught out by the 97 event, which turned out to have gone spectacularly over budget. This is where I've learned something very important, is that every age gets the pride it deserves. And the best thing that can happen is for there to be something like this, a big crunch or a big clear out or a big bankruptcy that removes all the people who were organising the event and brings in a whole new bunch of people. Because it's that refreshment, that sort of reviving, which keeps Pride interesting and exciting.